Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Jean.
And I'm Mike. And today we are doing the crossword for Friday, August 9th, 2024. So, on this cool Wisconsin day, did you do the crossword?
I did.
And was it a cool crossword?
It was very cool for me.
Cool and refreshing?
Cool and refreshing.
Well, good.
For a Friday, It was quite refreshing.
Refreshingly hard? Refreshingly easy?
Refreshingly challenging.
Oh.
But I still got it done. Hurrah.
Good?
I didn't think I was, though.
Really?
I went through at least half of it with nothing. Nothing at all. But then I got one here and one there, and pretty soon I had a whole corner done, and I just kept plugging at it and got it done.
Yeah, I think I had trouble finding a foothold as well. The top half was pretty tricky. I wonder if that's usually the case.
Well, it seems like it is for me on Friday and Saturday. It's like it takes me a very long time to find any that I even sort of think it might be an answer. But
I
yeah.
think this one was, though, just sort of like scanning over the clues. This was more challenging than most in terms of just finding a place where you could start.
Well, there were a lot of long ones, especially going down.
Right.
And I think there were a lot of debut ones in here. I think there were some there. I'm like, I don't think I have ever seen this in a crossword puzzle.
There were 10 debut answers.
I believe it. For sure, 30 down has to be a debut. Is that a debut?
30 down, stigmatized sexual preferences in modern lingo. Kink shame.
Kink shame.
Yes.
I have never heard that.
You know, I had the word kink, and I wasn't sure what to do with it, but eventually was able to sort of figure out the shame part.
That's funny, because I got the shame.
Really? Oh, okay.
But I had no idea what was shaming.
I guess it depends how you were coming to this.
Kink shame.
Right. But, you know, I look at the top part of the grid. Listing, I mean, it started off with listing on a resume, skill. And since I don't have any skills, that part of my resume is empty.
No.
And so I was like, what I thought, well, let's see, phone number,
Yeah,
email,
I thought the same thing. Address.
email address. I didn't think of actually
Email.
listing my skills, references, but apparently skills are something you're supposed to put on a resume. I'll have to remember that. And then one down, something to heave, was sigh.
Right.
That was good.
That was a great clue.
Yes.
But it took me forever to figure it out.
Two down, the wedding planning website with the not, which is a good name for a wedding planning site.
It is. And I think in the back of my mind, I have visited that for various couples that I've been invited to their wedding.
Really? The not.
The not. But
The one next to it.
none of our children who are married used the not.
Are our children married? I got to pay closer attention to our family. 3 down, wedding exchange was I do's.
That I got.
Yes, that's where I think I put that down immediately and didn't let go of it.
Well, I went through half of the acrosses just trying to get one. I thought, well, maybe I'll try some downs.
Well, you know, I had the S of 19 across, short elevations question mark, and it was heights, HTS, which is sort of a bit of crosswordese, but considering the quality of all the clues in this crossword, we'll let it slide. Let's see. 15 down, kicks, and then in parenthesis, out was boots.
Right.
I always have trouble with those clues that have the parenthesis. I never quite...
They're a challenge for me, too.
Yeah, I never read it right. I mean, I understand in principle you're supposed to find a word that without mean kicks. So boots out is, well, or...
Makes sense.
I don't know. But, and 6 down, I was really annoyed at myself. Marvel's Maximoff. It was Wanda.
Right.
And I think, I thought it's WandaVision. And, but for some reason I was reluctant to put that down.
Well, it sounded like like Black Widow's. I thought that was Black Widow's last name, but her first name's like Natasha or something.
Right. Yes.
So.
And Natasha was definitely not going to fit in 5 squares. Unless you resort to rebuses, which they would not, or generally don't do on a Friday.
No.
6 across, bad news from a maitre d'. So first I thought, oh, it's the bill. And then I thought, well, maybe the maitre d' wouldn't serve the bill. That would be the server. So then I thought full. And then eventually I decided on wait.
Wait, yes. That is bad news.
7 down, entry fee for some clubs was ante.
Right. I wondered if that was going to be related to cards, because it had the question mark at the end. So I'm like, well, this isn't like, cover charge or anything like that. You would have to pay to get into a bar. I said, I bet this has something to do with cards. But it was ante, yeah.
It's a bit of a stretch, but it does have that question mark.
Right.
So the idea is you're anteing up to play a hand,
it's what
and you've got clubs.
With. It's the entry fee to get into the game, yes.
Okay.
You got to throw something in the pot.
Mm-hmm. The one next to it, blind worshippers, 8 down, was idolaters.
That's right.
It's like, ooh, that was good.
Yes. Yes.
And 10 down, journeys into the past, museum tours. Yeah. That was delightful. Mm-hmm. That really was a great way of characterizing museums.
Right. And I thought 12 down, nasty, as a remark. Snide.
I went for that right away.
Oh, did you really?
Absolutely.
Well, when I was trying, if you concentrated on the remark, well, what kind of remarks are there? There are snide remarks.
Those are the only ones I know.
Yeah. So.
Let's see. What else was interesting there? 18 across. Music magazine since 1985. Spin.
Right.
I think they're going to have to rename themselves because, most music now you probably stream electronically. Nothing's spinning anymore.
Well, I think LPs sort of made a little comeback there, but
right.
But yeah, Spin magazine. Interesting.
Yes. What else do we have? 18, or actually 16 across. Why would you ever think that? And the answer was, no.
Right.
That's sort of, all of these are tricky.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of trouble with 34 across. Non-standard abbreviation.
Right.
And I put in, I bet that's irregular. So I put in IRR. And I'm like, no, it's not. And I took it out.
Oh.
And then I put it back in. And then I took it out. And eventually I got the middle R. I thought, it's got to be IRR. And I finally left it in, and it was.
Yeah.
So,
And that middle R was part of 28 down. They might fall off a shelf.
Right.
So I was thinking books, but it was Berg's.
Right.
Like an ice shelf. That was cute. 20 across, T for 1. And I thought that was an element. And so I decided the answer was metal.
Oh.
But the answer turned out to be model. It was Model T.
That's right.
And I looked up the elements, and at least according to, let's see, where did I think I asked ChatGPT for a bit of help here, and it listed 14 elements that start with a single letter. Warning to listeners, this is from ChatGPT. This might be totally wrong, but in any event, there are 14 that get a single letter, and T was not taken. So I guess these are sort of like, the high visibility elements, or the A-listers of elements, because like hydrogen gets an H, boron gets a B, carbon gets a C, and so forth. But T, no T.
No T.
I was thinking it was going to be titanium, but I guess that's Ti.
That's right. And
there are 112 elements with 2 symbols, and there are no symbols with 3 letters.
No, it's just 1 or 2.
1 or 2. They should introduce now 3, and like companies should be able to use their stock exchange name or their stock exchange symbol for to rename an element. Like Apple could take
PP.
APP, and they could rename hydrogen. They could say that the symbol for hydrogen now is APP instead of H. That might not work well.
I don't think that will.
Yeah, never mind. Because I wasn't sure I wasn't clear who they'd be paying for that privilege.
Science. Science.
I wonder who gives the letters to the elements. Must be some UN group. Let's see.
The National Science Foundation or something.
That maybe. Don't know how the
National Institute of Science.
I don't know how all the other countries would feel about the U.S. having responsibility. 22 down. Apt anagram of tins bear them minus an E. Breath mints.
Right.
It's like that clue felt like homework. It's just like, great, now I have to take a 50-letter long word or phrase and anagram it. But
without one of the letters.
Yes. That was cute. But
at least they told you which letter to take out.
But the bottom left corner, which is where mints resided, wasn't that bad, I thought. I got more traction there, like campsite was a tent.
I got 50 across. Japanese noodles. Udon. That was, I think, maybe the first one I
Really?
got. Yes.
I thought you said you got I do's 3 down.
Well, like you said, I went through about half of it before I finally went back and I did get I do's, but on the acrosses, I think udon was the first.
But in that bottom left, we had 41 down, blank cuisine. That's almost always haute cuisine. So
right. Mm-hmm.
And then 41 across, sources of some political gaffes, hot mics.
Right. That took me a while.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 45 across, I had to guess, what awakens Godzilla from the ocean informally? So I thought it was an A-bomb, but apparently it took an H-bomb.
Right.
Godzilla must be a heavy sleeper. And so, but I needed that H for shame and kink shame.
That's right.
Let's see here. I wonder if anyone else finds it ironic that double stuff, let's see, 25 down was double blank cookie descriptor, and it was stuff. Right. And stuff is spelled S-T-U-F.
That's right.
They've got double. So if anything, they've taken the double letter, the F, out of stuff.
That's right.
They ought to include it and maybe go for 4. S-T-U-F-F-F-F.
Double stuff. They're double stuffed Oreos.
Right. Uh-huh. But I just think there should be more Fs to indicate just how much is in them, rather than take the F away. I am the only person who thinks that way. All right.
Probably.
29 across, email ancestor, telex.
Yes, that took me a while. Everything took me a while.
I've heard the word telex. I guess I never really knew what it was.
I don't know. Myself, I've never used that form of communication, telex. Is it like a telegram, or I'm not sure.
Well, see, that's what I was thinking. Of course, I only had 5 letters, but I was thinking, well, it's like it's written communication. Telegram makes sense, but maybe that's how you send telegrams.
Maybe.
If only there was some place that we could go. Great. I looked up telex, and I went to a website called telex.hu.
That might take some historical research.
Yes, it might. Could be a fun fact for Fun Fact Friday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. What else do we have? 36 across, subway fare, footlongs, ha-ha.
Oh, yeah. I had to think about that a very long time because I thought they are talking about Subway, the restaurant, not Subway, like a form of transportation.
Right.
So I kept deli sandwich, or I was trying to think of the names of Subway sandwiches because they do have different names, but footlongs, definitely footlongs, yeah.
I had trouble with 51 across, the rodeo event. I had it ending in race, and I got
the race part first.
And I had an R and an E in very suspicious places, but I had an L, so I had horse L race. And I decided, well, okay, the L couldn't work, so I had horsey race. I don't know if you've ever seen a horsey race at a rodeo.
I knew it was, once I got race, I knew it was barrel race. I didn't know what any other kind of race you have in a rodeo.
What, so the barrels all line up and they run?
No.
How do they do that without legs?
They put barrels around, and then they act like, they have to
It's a
go around the
slalom?
barrels as fast as they can, sort of like an obstacle course.
Are they on horses when they're doing this? Okay, glad.
No, they're on sheep.
I figured they were just running. Okay, barrel race, not horsey race. I still like horsey race.
Horse L race.
The one beneath that, 54 across, it's been too long. And for some reason, in the middle of that, with one of the crosses, 32 down, vitamin quantity, spelled QTY, the answer was RDA. Right. But I somehow got an E into there, so I had RIA. Oh. And then I was, so the end of that was CU. And I was trying to work, it's been too long to see you. And it wasn't working. And eventually I realized it was a D, and so it was I missed you.
That's right.
Which was made more sense, definitely. All right.
I thought 39 was kind of a fun fact, 39 across, fun fact in itself. Animals that appear in the fossil record before trees. Sharks. I just thought that was quite interesting.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I presume it's not the same sharks we see nowadays.
I have no idea, but...
I mean, they have to be very long-lived.
But, the fact that, I guess, like we had water maybe before we had a lot of plant vegetation. So I guess you could have sharks before you had trees. Mm-hmm. Anyway, interesting.
Yes. 43 down. I'm not really good at this game. Line drawn after an early wrong guess in Hangman. Torso.
Torso, yes.
You got that right away?
No, I didn't get it right away, but I figured that out fairly quickly. I did get 43 across. Middle word of a Stowe title. Tom's, for Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Right.
Yeah, I did get that one.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think that's it for the crossword then.
Okay.
But it is Friday, which means it's time for Fun Fact Friday. And earlier this week, we had a discussion about types of pasta. And there was the answer to one of the clues was Fusilli. And I had originally thought perhaps it could have been Rotini. And I thought that...
Yes, this was on Wednesday.
Right.
It was 58 across. Corkscrew-shaped pasta.
Right.
And we both thought it was Rotini.
And we'd had Rotini earlier in the week.
That's right. But it was Fusilli.
Right. So here is a brief discussion of what sets Fusilli apart from Rotini. And this is from Italian food stores. Sounds like a company that ought to know. While Fusilli and Rotini may appear similar at first glance, their differences become more apparent upon closer inspection. And they differ in four main areas. Spiral tightness. Fusilli has a tighter spiral that resembles a traditional corkscrew, while Rotini boasts a looser, more open spiral. This distinction affects how they interact with sauces and ingredients.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
You can tell they're real chefs. They're talking about interacting with sauces.
Right.
Texture. Fusilli and Rotini generally share a smooth texture, which enhances the presentation of your pasta dishes. The smooth surface allows sauces to cling and coat the pasta evenly. Suitability for sauces. Due to its compact spirals, Fusilli excels with both light and heavy sauces as it can capture and hold a variety of toppings. Rotini, with its wider open spiral, pairs exceptionally well with chunky or thick sauces, ensuring that every bite is a harmonious blend of pasta and sauce. This is more thinking about food than I ever expand. Regional origins. Fusilli traditionally hails from southern Italy, particularly the Campania region, while Rotini has northern Italian roots. These regional influences have shaped the pasta's popularity and typical pairings. So, Fusilli, tight spiral. Rotini, looser spiral.
That's interesting because Rotini, I think, is often used in like a Italian pasta salad, where it's sort of like an Italian dressing, like you'd have an Italian salad dressing, that similar kind dressing goes on, Italian pasta salad where you put in, cherry tomatoes and black olives and green peppers and onions, and then you have rotini with this sort of vinegar oil sauce and spices. But it said that rotini was better with chunky, thick sauces. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, the pictures that I saw, it looked like fusilli was so tightly wound. I didn't see how you could actually sort of get sauce into it.
Well,
whereas the rotini, it's just sort of, like open.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to put a picture in the show notes today, I think.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, thank you for that fun fact.
Oh, you are entirely welcome. And one last thing, we have a little bit of listener mail here.
Oh, we do.
We do indeed. And let's see here. If I can go into my giant mailbag here. This is from Randall, and it is timing question. Hi, guys. Just to annoy myself, I look at Rex Parker's blog on occasion. Rex Parker is great when you're struggling in a crossword and you want to be really mad at the author. Go to Rex. He'll be mad for you. Okay. Yesterday, Thursday, he had a guest solver critic. This writer announced a disclaimer at the outset that he solved the puzzle whilst dead tired and unable to type. One might then assume that he announced that in order to account for a sluggish and lengthy solve. His total solving time span, however, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. On a Thursday, with rebuses. I can't imagine being able to fully read the clues and fill in the grid from a cheat sheet of answers in 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
No.
I sometimes see these wildly short solving times for Mr. Parker as well. My question is, how is this possible? Is it possible? Are there really such genius super solvers out there who are so crossword skilled that they are able to perform such miraculous and truthfully rather unbelievable feats? I fluctuate between disbelief and awe at such proclamations. How can they do this? What say you? I have no reason to suspect that anyone is guilty of making up these times, but I just don't see how a 3-minute Thursday is physically possible. 3 minutes, 30 seconds. But maybe I'm just a crossword savoring slowpoke. Thanks as always for what you guys do every single day. Randall.
That's nice.
Thank you so much for that, Randall. And what a great question. So I remember at one point I'd made a little app for solving crosswords, but then I realized it wasn't tying into my stats. So I'd solve it with my app, and then I'd put the answers in to the regular grid. And that's how I would get crosswords like I'd solve a Thursday, apparently in 4 minutes. But that was my second go around, just typing in the answers. So, to do it in 3 minutes, 30 seconds.
I have to agree with Randall. I think that seems impossible.
Well, I mean, look at Simone Biles, all right? This could be the Simone Biles of crossword solving, right?
I suppose.
Or what's that woman, Lecky? Lecky, the swimmer?
Oh, Katie Ledecky.
Katie Ledecky, right.
Yeah.
Could be Katie Ledecky of crosswords.
She's very fast at swimming.
Right.
So someone could be fast at crossword.
What I'd like to do is see them solving a crossword while swimming. Now, that would be highly impressive.
But, I mean, okay, I'm thinking back to my days when I took typing. When typing was a class you had to take in high school. And I remember having to, try to go as fast as you can. But that's where you were just copying words. I mean, here you've got to think of the words and then put them in. It just doesn't seem like that would be possible unless they've done so many crosswords that they know the answers to the clues. I mean, they absolutely know what they are because they've seen those clues so many times before. But I don't know. Yeah, it does sound like it would be very, very difficult to do
maybe it was 33 minutes and 30 seconds, and they just lost one of the threes.
Because even a rebus takes time. You got to click on the rebus, and then you got to go back to the puzzle and put the rebus in, and then hit return. And go to your next, and then fill in the rest of the answer. So
I would like to believe. I mean, if they really can't do it in these times and they're just like lying through their teeth, that's just sad, right? And if it's the truth, it means that they're, perhaps vast quantities of caffeine are involved, and they really are very fast typists. Maybe they've got autofill. Maybe autofill is turned on. And so you start typing the letter and it comes up with suggestions.
There's a crossword autofill. I did not know that.
Well, just sort of like standard autofill, you know. But
But autofill wouldn't fill in a crossword.
if it was really smart, it might.
Maybe that's what you should do in your spare time. Create an autofill for crosswords. So then people would be solving them in 30 seconds.
Right. Yeah,
EP, a pay. Yes.
Well, I could believe that if these people really are, as you say, they've done these crosswords since they were in grade school and they actually know the answers.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So they don't have to think. If they have to think about the answer, if there's anything that they have to puzzle out, I don't think they can do it this fast.
No.
This suggests that they know the answers and they are very fast typists. Mm-hmm. I think
and they probably don't have to do the downs. They probably just do the crosses.
Well, no, they wouldn't do the downs, right? I mean, they just like you can pretty much tear through a Monday just doing the acrosses.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could do that. Imagine if you could do that on a Thursday.
But
now,
even tearing through a Monday, it still takes me more than 5 minutes.
Right.
You know. So.
Well, it could be these people really aren't from Earth, that they're aliens, and they've blended in just about perfectly. The one mistake they made was being too good at crosswords, and that's how we found out we've been invaded. That's my working hypothesis.
Or they've achieved singularity with AI. You know, I've heard that is coming. You know, that by the mid 21st century, we will have achieved singularity with AI, and we will be as one.
Well, you know, I noticed Rex Parker has a big cable coming out of his head.
So maybe they are advanced in AI singularity. So they just think to themselves, ChatGPT, solve this crossword.
You know, if we consult with Occam's razor, I think the most likely explanation is the simplest explanation is the best. And in this case, they're really smart and they're really fast typists and they're wired on some sort of drug. Whatever, you know.
Or just overly caffeinated.
Overly caffeinated, that's right. They don't have to take steroids. They just have to take Diet Coke in vast quantities.
There you go.
I think, you know, if there was actually a video watching people do this, you know, then
that would be very interesting to. Yeah, I would love to see that.
But we'd have to know that they hadn't seen the crossword in advance. You know, there was a reference not too long ago to Joseph Dunninger, who was supposed to be he was this mentalist, and there was some question as to whether or not he would supposedly interview a panel. And he'd be thinking, someone's thinking of this. He'd be saying, someone's thinking of this, someone's thinking of that. And it seemed that he could do it. But then there were critics who were, you know, sort of watching him and it's like, I don't know about this. They'd have to apply that same critical thinking to this, to try and, to, you know, they definitely, to test it, have to present them with a crossword that they had not seen, right? No one had leaked or anything like that. Because I'm sure the Thursday crosswords, you know, every crossword gets beta tested. And so it's out there to a select group of people ahead of time. So,
well, shoot, maybe this should be the newest Olympic sport next. Crossword puzzle solving races.
I think a sport where you don't actually have to move anything other than one hand about a total of 5 inches is not really going to be a sport. I mean, I guess it would be interesting if like Rex Parker at the end of his slog is like breathing hard. You know, he gets to the last word, epee. I doubt that happens. All right. Well, listen, Randall, thank you so very much for that inspired question.
Yes.
We don't think we've answered it at all.
No,
but we apologize for that.
It was fun thinking about it.
It was fun thinking about it. Yes, indeed. All right. That is it for today then. So thanks, everyone, for listening.
Yep.
Remember, you can always do what Randall did. Maybe you won't come up with a question that's as great as that, but you can still do what he did, which is to send us your questions and feedback, crosswordpodcast@icloud.com. That's it for today. We'll be back again with our cutting-edge analysis of tomorrow's crossword tomorrow.
Bye-bye.